Welcome back to yet another Wednesday, and I'm wearing my Raya hat not for any particular reason. I just felt like wearing such a hat, maybe for just the fun of it. But today's match is definitely interesting as it's basically a rematch between Tigran Petrosian, the world champion, and Boris Spassky, the challenger. And Spassky, after his 98 games, he had to play 98 games to the whole qualifier throughout 3 years. He had to play 98 games just to earn the title shot, basically. So after such a hefty basically road, he finally gets to play the world champion again. And we're skipping ahead to game number 5. The score is level. And Spassky has the white pieces, Petrosian has the black pieces. Let's just see the game. We have an English opening, a pretty nice variation. Basically, this is a semi-Tarash exchange variation, and we get the following structure. Then we get the bishop trade, and there have been played over 1,850 games in this variation. And definitely castles, bishop c4 are the most famous lines, and now knight c6. Castles and b6, because you're basically activating the bishop only on this long diagonal, otherwise you don't really have a nice development path for the bishop. And here you bring in the rooks as white, and also black brings in the rook to the c file. And here there's a really critical move, d5, because you have to clarify the situation in the center. I mean, you can postpone that. You can play something like h3, but at the end of the day, knight a5 is coming, and you have to find a good square for the bishop. Bishop d3 is inferior to bishop d5, and you're gonna see the variations side by side, and the difference is not that big, but any slight difference at this level is big enough. So if we compare the variations like this, I mean, in this variation white is doing significantly better, because he's just more active and he has much more attacking potential. Now there has been another game here after this move, queen c7, that continued queen h4. I mean, obviously the game happened after their World Chess Championship match, but I'm just saying that this position has been reached again. But in that game, or in this game, Spassky plays queen to f5, which is better than what the Chinese grandmaster that played queen h4 was. So okay, that aside, we have queen f5, and here basically black has, well, only one choice. And if black doesn't play the move h6, stopping knight g5, black is in some trouble, because no matter what else you play, I'm just gonna hit you with knight g5. Well, Petrosian thought he can just capture the bishop and then go queen c2, and in that way he stopped knight g5, which is true. You cannot play knight g5 here, but you can play queen f4. And you sacrifice a pawn here as white, but who is stopping this pawn? So the pawn gets pushed, the queens are not getting traded, the threat of knight g5 is reinforced, so finally h6. But now it's a little too late, because black is so passive. This knight is looking stupid. This rook is stuck defending a pawn that's one square away from promotion, and this rook can basically not move, not to mention the king's position here. And I mean, the queen is doing fine, but it's not enough. So rook c1, right, trying to get the queen to not participate in the game anymore, and now rook c7, not allowing the queen any square to go back on defense. And b5, a desperation move, trying to free himself, Petrosian. He cannot. Knight d4, and this is too much pressure here. You're gonna try to play queen b6. Okay, now I have to defend my rook. Well, I defend my rook like this. Rook c8 is an amazing move because you cannot capture the rook. Obviously, you would be simply down a full rook at the end of the variation, and you also don't have any way to attack the rook. So you have to defend. If you play something stupid like, let's say, a6, right? What I'm gonna do is, well, I can just go queen g4 and knight g5. But I'm just saying I can also go rook e8, which is fun, which is a lot of fun. Queen e8 works because rook e8, sorry, because you cannot defend against this anymore, because I put too much pressure, and then you have to play knight b7 anyway. But now again, it's too late. I can just play queen e5. There's a lot of moves that you can play. You're really winning here. So knight b7 right away, but now knight c6 attacking the rook, and Petrosian tried to attack the queen, but it doesn't work. Spassky simply comes back, and although we are temporarily down material, this promotion is impossible to stop. I mean, you come back with the knight. Let's say I just play check, for example. You go here, and then I just take the rook. That's one way to do it. Or the other way, if you're not gonna play this, if you're not gonna allow the check, if you're just gonna play something like f6, I don't know, then I mean, again, rook e8, just like in the previous variation. And at the end of the day, I can also go for something more brutal like this. This is not considered the best, but I'm still the upper rook. So very nice game here by Spassky in the game number 5. And then Spassky won another game. But then Petrosian made a little bit of a comeback. And now the score is 1 up for Spassky. And we go into game number 11. The colors are still the same. So if Spassky can win this one, he can definitely go go on a break, right? I think that's how I'm borrowing from snooker terminology here, but who cares, right? D4, knight f6, and we have this time we have a queen's in, and that's what I like about this long matches, is that basically the players are forced to come up with new openings during the match, because you cannot just play the same thing and expect different results. I mean, you can play slightly different variations, but we have seen also in recent times how important the element of surprise is, and that's what it was back in the day also. I mean, you had to be really well prepared, but you also had to have something just surprising that your opponent couldn't respond to, although it was hard, and especially because this variation here is called the Queen's Indian Defense, the Kasparov-Petrosian variation. So I mean, just looking at the names, it's basically impossible to lose with this opening, you would say, right? I always like to make this type of jokes. The thing is, what this variation offers is basically Black has this, you would say, bad bishop because it stares into a pawn, but White's bishop is also really bad, and Black's advantage is that Black at the end of the day can stop White from infiltrating and then put the knight in the center, and you can never capture the knight. If you capture the knight, this bishop comes alive, this everything is just staring at your king, the knight comes in, so it's really bad, so you're never gonna do that. So Spassky tries a4, and then, you know, Spassky somehow maybe trying to make something here on the queen side happen, like an imbalance and something that is gonna allow him to fight or continue fighting in this variation. Knight to f6 now, also defending the d pawn. And here again, if you're wondering why this is not possible, well, because I just captured, and after you capture, now you can just go knight c3 and I fork you. So that's impossible. But the knight f6, not allowing the capture to happen anyways. It would have been the same result, but I'm just saying. Knight takes on c3 now, and here actually we have the move knight e4, kicking the queen back, and now rook to c8. And Petrosian played this, of course, because you want to be captured here on the a6 square, because now White would be forced to play something like bishop b5. Otherwise, you would take the bishop and then also the pawn. So you still take the bishop, and now you just have a lot of pressure here. I mean, you can just double up the rooks. You have the a file open, and you have more space. You're just doing better, and this bishop is still very much trash, while this bishop is good, not to mention all of the attacking possibilities on the king side. I'm just saying, bishop to b2 was played instead of that, and now anticipating the captures, now you would get an extra move, but Petrosian plays the move c6, That's a really nice move, basically forcing a capture here, because I mean either capture or queen b3. Queen b3, but then c takes b5, a takes on b5, sorry, and now a5. And something similar is gonna happen in the game, but then in that case, black still gets the passed pawn, and it's kind of hard to stop, and it's also very much annoying. Plus, you have the same problems as in the other variations. Now you take the pawn, and here we have queen b3 trying to take the b pawn. Of course, you can never take that because congratulations, you have just trapped your queen. Therefore, Spassky simply has to defend his a pawn from this attack here. Okay, playing with colors a little bit. b5, and now Spassky thinks about it and he plays a5. He says, okay, I'm gonna close it down, and then maybe I'm just gonna be able to resist this whole attack. Although in hindsight it was better to take the pawn, because although here you just allow black to have a nice extra passed pawn, it's more stoppable than what's gonna come here in this variation. And Petrosian is gonna make really nice display, completing his comeback. Bishop goes back, no need to do anything crazy, just solidify here. The bishop is the backbone of the position, and now Spassky tries to bring in the knight as well, but this knight is not gonna do a lot of damage because it is pretty much hitting air. Right? These squares are not important in black's position. And Petrosian goes for a remaneuver here because Spassky moved his rook from the f1 square, and now Petrosian is gonna attack him. Because if you look at the position like this, the threat is f3. That's why the rook moved, because knight d2 was an option. Right? So just explaining everything. And now g3, the queen goes back, and now f3, the knight goes back. h4, the knight is forced back. And it seems like the momentum is coming back. Spassky is pushing for something, but then Petrosian puts stop and says f6, knight goes back, and now knight d8. And this move, knight d8, is the beginning of the end for Spassky. So this knight here can go to f7, and from f7 to h6. h6 is gonna allow the knight to access either one of these two squares, and the bishop can in fact guard one of these squares, but it's impossible for the bishop to guard two squares. Now, leaving the knight aside, look at the rooks. The rooks are just gonna get doubled here, and they're just gonna be massive here on the c file. And not only that, look at the queen pressuring down the center, and also the bishop looking here on the queen side. So basically Petrosian has pressure on all three sides, and if you have pressure on all three sides, you basically, I mean, at least positionally, you have won the game. And exactly what I said is just gonna happen, and it happens also in a beautiful style. I mean, you're offering up this queen here, this rook, not the queen, but if you take the rook, you're pretty much doomed. Definitely. I mean, even if you play queen c2, rook e8, good luck defending the pawn. You cannot. Bishop c1. I mean, bishop e4 first. There's no point in exploring this variation any further. Queen d3 was played, trying to keep close to this e3 pawn, right? But as I said, pressure comes down all of the lanes, and now bishop b4. That move had to happen anyway. Bishop a3, looking for the last hope. Maybe I can trade. Maybe I can clarify something here, but it's the end, because the knight that doesn't go to h6 anymore. He comes to d6, and when he's gonna come to e4, it's gonna be bad. I told you it's gonna be bad, because it doesn't matter if you take it. Who is exactly stopping me from just shredding through all the cheese? Basically, this is a Swiss cheese structure. That's how it's called in popular terms. Rook e2 trying to stop the infiltration. Now if you try to infiltrate, now I can actually take the rook here, because the check will not result into anything here in the future. Of course, I get another move, rook h1. Okay, I thought it was black's move, but you don't get anything here basically. So that's why Petrosian still offered the rook, but he doubled like this, and okay, Spassky was finally forced to take. And there's still looming pressure here, and I suppose it was due to time trouble, but Spassky just played a huge blunder in this position. He went d5. I suppose Spassky did not like this idea. And in this position, he's just passive and he's waiting for Petrosian to do something, and I don't think he liked it. And I think he maybe figured out that he would be experiencing a slow death, and he couldn't see a solution. That's why he played d5, this explosive maneuvering, sacrificing a pawn, but it just doesn't work. c3, and now there's no stacking the rooks, so you have to play rook c2. You have to stop the advancement of the pawn, but now the queen comes in, and if you take my bishop, now you're just gonna lose your queen really fast, so you cannot do that. You have to be careful. Rook g1, but now this rook is out of the game. And just like, well, I would say just like in chess, but right, because that's the parallel that you make with other games. But like, let's say just like in basketball, you have just passed the ball in a different direction, and now that player is simply out of the game. Pretty bad analogy, to be honest, but we're gonna work on those. And now you harass the king, you dribble around a little bit, and now you finally shoot and you score and you take a pawn, aka a point. And yeah, now it's over. Queen comes back, everything is solid. You try to push, you try something desperate here, but it just doesn't work. And Petrosian did a really nice job, honestly. Here, I mean, if you play king h8, this is stupid. I just wanted to illustrate that you can still lose the game here. It's not over. You can still definitely lose the game, but Petrosian is not dumb. So yeah, I mean, Spassky plays a little bit on, but then finally resigns in this position because he's lost. I mean, it doesn't matter. Even if king h8 happens, he's still up a full queen, and yeah, this is just checkmate basically. So Petrosian completes his comeback. The game is the score is finally again equal, and then Spassky wins another game and another game, but Petrosian wins another game. And that brings us to game number 21. This is a make or break game. And the colors are still the same. Spassky still has the white pieces. Petrosian has the black pieces. But this time they face off in a Ruy Lopez. And again, the stakes are quite high. This is game number 21 at this point, and they're nearing the end. Spassky's up one game, and Petrosian, he really needs to win this one. And we have castles, and this is again the close to Ruy Lopez. Thousands of games have been played here. This position has been reached 29,000 times. That's mad. H3, and this is called the Karpov variation. So now we go into the different variations. This is called the Chigorin, and there are also like some other defenses, like this is the Breyer, but you don't have to know the names. You can play whatever basically. You can play knight a5, knight b8, bishop b7, rook e8, knight d7. You can even play like h6, bishop e6. You can do whatever, and it's something, right? The Ruy Lopez is so complex. I'm not scared to play the Ruy Lopez, but whenever I'm playing it, I'm just saying like, okay, I cannot know everything, right? So I'm just playing it. It's fun. It's fun. The Ruy Lopezes are fun because there's a lot to do in them. So d4 now, we're finally getting into like the more niche opening. This is called the Karpov variation, as I've mentioned, and the move is basically bishop f6, trying to put pressure on the pawn. So now bishop e3 is played, but now knight a5, kicking the bishop back, and now knight comes to c4, only to kick back the bishop. So you're not allowing the trade, only for this knight to be now kicked out with b3 and then go for bishop e3. This is just again, this is like a head trip to look at with all the variations, but as I've mentioned already, it's fun. It's quite fun. And now d5, and we finally get into the realm of only having 5 games that have reached this position again after this World Chess Championship match. And there's one game continuing rook c8, there's also one game continuing queen c8, and then there's also some games continuing bishop e7, in which black scored relatively well. I mean, he won both those games, but okay, Peter Sweeter was playing with the black pieces, so you gotta have some good representatives as well. Knight b to d2, and now c6. And there actually has been one game that featured the very next move, c4. But I just want to talk about the position a little bit. Basically, black is trying to finally break free. He set up everything here to counter the center. And white is going to stop that by playing c4. Because now in the event of the trade, yes, black has the open c-file, but only for a moment, because white is going to play something really smart. I mean, think about it for a second. What would you play in this position? I don't know what I would play exactly. I would probably play something like bishop d3 and then just give up all the advantage after takes, and then like rook c8 or something. But the move that Spassky plays here is nice, right? a4. Because if you take the pawn, which Petrosian didn't do, you basically give up the b file, which is, I mean, it's pretty bad to give up the b file. There's a lot of pressure here on the b file with all the pieces lining up for white. But if you don't take the pawn, if you play knight c5, let's say, now you're threatening to take the pawn, now I'm just gonna take it myself, and not only take it myself, I'm gonna play rook a1, and now I'm taking over this file. And if you're not gonna play b4, I'm gonna play b4, and it's gonna be even worse, so b4. But now, queen e2, and okay, you cannot go bishop a6 anymore, you cannot harass me, and now bishop d3. And the move bishop d3 is not the best move, and I'm just gonna tell you why in a second. You would think, well, it's not the best move because I can just take it, right? And now I just have the bishop for the knight. Well, not exactly, because look at your bishops. They're not the greatest of bishops. Maybe this bishop has some potential here if he reroutes, but the light square bishop for black is never gonna come to life, really. That's why it was also important to secure the a file as white. But the reason this move is not so good, it's crazy. It's because bishop takes on d5, and when you first look at it, it's like, you're just giving up a bishop. Yeah, but look at these two pieces and this pawn, and then, whoops, e4, and you basically fork white. And now, okay, the position like knight e4, and then like this, and then maybe a move like rook a5, just solidifying everything. Because also the bishop was hitting that square in the corner there. So good. This would have been the right variation, but it's really hard to see, and it's really complicated. And even here, it's not so clear. Like rook e8, but knight d2, and then you keep the rook back, or something, queen b5. It's still very much complicated. I don't blame Petrosian for not going for that. He just went for the more simple variation, but this is sadly not as accurate, and it just allows white to come and just take the game. The pawn is attacked now, queen d2, and there's no way to defend it. If you try to defend like rook b5, it's impossible. I just take, and then I take here, and then I win a pawn anyway, and right, because I'm gonna get my material back. And so he tried bishop e7. But now I'm attacking your bishop, and now I'm finally taking your pawn. And yeah, f5 is a last-ditch effort here. If you take the pawn, then yes, okay, I get bishop takes on d5. But Spassky, again, really smart. He plays rook a7, attacking the bishop first, and now this is not tempting at all, because this comes with tempo on the queen, so it's not an equal threat. So you have to defend the bishop, and now I take, and now there's no more bishop takes, because obviously queen takes, and then rook takes rook. So black has to play something different, queen c8, and now simply knight goes back to e3, defending everything. And now it just, at this point, it doesn't really matter. The conversion lasts a little bit, but I mean, Spassky was in complete control the whole game, and now finally just goes on to actually win it, trades the pieces, make sure everything is solid, f6, and you cannot stop checkmate. So a really nice game. You know, some say that Spassky underestimated Petrosian in their first match, and that's why Petrosian underestimated Spassky in this match. But the mini title I haven't talked about, it's Born to Die, because what's coming next is the real deal. What's coming next is the 1972 World Chess Championship match, and you know what I'm talking about too well if you reach this part of the video anyway. The next one is gonna be massive, and I'm really hyped for that. It's Bobby Fischer time, baby. Let's go. Okay, so until next week, I'll see you all. Yeah, I just wanted to say happy birthday to some grandmaster. It's just so in my mind. I've done so many videos like that, but without making this video too long, I'll see you all in the next one. Kowalsky.